Ooh, can't wait. Content.
Content.
It is a student game report, of course, with the man, Kyle F. and Nash. Do we do this now almost 9 years now? I think 9 years.
Yeah.
Never gets old with me, doesn't it?
Hey, listen, you've gotten better. Iron sharpens iron, and I definitely have gone to. Speaking of iron sharpens iron, I don't know. Maybe the Texans were sharper playing against those Titans. Boy, howdy. You know what? All you people last week who gave EJ and I crap about how great the Titans were, whoo, I'll tell you, you served us like we were in a dance competition, and I had a broken leg, Titans fans. Woo!
Oh yeah,
Super Bowl.
If you guys don't know what Kyle's referring to, I put a 5-minute clip of our conversation last week about the Titans on the Your Speaking Media YouTube page. Check it out, of course, on YouTube, Your Speaking Media. And a bunch of fucking Titan fans just came ramming through the comment section and calling us clowns and all this.
I don't mind being called a clown, but like I supplant time with my family to watch games, and these morons want to try to tell me I don't watch games. Yeah, true. Cool story, bud. By the way, side note, I was in Jacksonville at a game, in the stadium watching that whole Colts Jacksonville thing unfold. So yeah, I don't watch games though, EJ. Douches.
I don't get fans. Look, fans are fans for a reason. You want this? Let's give me clicks. I don't give a shit.
Oh yeah. Well, in the words of Charlie Sheen, I already got your money, dude. No, I joke a lot, but I mean, the dudes that commented, thank you for commenting, but I really don't think, I think you missed the part where I predicted them to win 11 games in the preseason. Okay. Just because I don't think your team's going to win the Super Bowl doesn't mean I think they're necessarily bad. Overrated is not bad.
Right. Now, I will say I am queuing up those same Titans fans on that page, because when the Titans lose divisional weekend to whoever they play, I will be queuing up the responses immediately after.
Yes, but remember, you're not allowed to use gifs of The Rock, FSU fan.
I hate you. I hate you. Anyway, we'll get to NFL. So we got a lot of NFL things to talk about today. This might be one of my longer reports, because we got obviously the playoffs around next week, and we got a lot of coaches fired and still in the hot seat, and a lot of things to talk about. So, before we do all that, let's put a bow on the college football season. We, almost forgot that with all the Week 18 shenanigans that happened, there was actually a national championship game that happened last night. Yeah. I had to be reminded, like, literally halfway through the day yesterday. That's one of the things I hate about the only bad thing about the playoff I don't like is that you have the bowl season, you got the hype of the New Year's games and stuff, and then you have to wait 12 days for the next one, and then it's like you forget about it, So, but last night Georgia they pulled it off. First natty in 40 years, as they beat Alabama last night on their rematch from the SEC title game. I guess it's a start here. Like, what we both picked Bama to win the game. Our feelings was that there was nothing we saw from the SEC title game that made us believe that could be anything could be different. Closer game, yes, but I didn't see that coming.
Well, and that's the thing about it too. This is bad analysis by me. I'll call it out. The moment I said closer game, I should have been able to remember that closer game means that Georgia can be more balanced on offense in a closer game because they're not trying to score quickly to come back and escape the clutches of a blowout. But that's what you saw, EJ Christian. This is what you had in this game that you didn't have the previous game, is the opportunity for Georgia to remain balanced on offense, right? Again, as much as they were down in the SEC title game, they no longer had the run as an option because they were trying to get out of a hole. Hell, as it was, Georgia didn't score the first touchdown until, what was it, like early in middle of the third quarter, right?
No, late third quarter.
Late third quarter, okay. Mid to late third quarter, whatever. The punchline is, when did they score the touchdown in question? When they remembered, oh yeah, we're still in this bleep. Let's try to put the damn ball on the ground. And it worked, right? Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, it was about balance. And really, the final thing I would say is something that Nick Saban said directly to Kirby Smart. You kicked our ass in the fourth quarter. I think that's really a synopsis of the game. It was an even matchup. Georgia was allowed to hang around and took advantage. I could get into analytics and this and that versus the other, but there's your 500-foot view of the game. And listen, all the people cheering the fall of the empire with Alabama, losing. Like you watch Cobra Kai, don't you, EJ?
I haven't watched it yet though, but I'm done. We're supposed to watch that really soon. 4 years in now, right? 4 seasons in.
You haven't started the 4th season?
I haven't started any of it yet.
Damn it! Well, now I can't say it because it's a spoiler if I do. You ruined it was going to be an amazing analogy. Can you put yourself on mute so I can say it for the fans at home? Anyways. Oh, okay. So yes, EJ does not have his headphones on. He can't hear me. And I'm going to say, so Daniel's son dies. Why'd you put your headphones back on? No, I'm kidding.
Oh, fuck. He did?
No.
Oh.
Dick. Or did he? Was that a spoiler within a spoiler with the reverse and 4D chess? Man, this Karate Kid, they're not getting that deep. Daniel's still alive. Shut up.
Okay, good.
His daughter isn't. Wait, I mean, what? No.
Look, I'm not an Alabama fan by any means. I'm actually for Georgia win the game too. But these people who are sitting there shitting on Bama after the game, you do realize they're probably gonna be back here next year too, right?
Yeah, seriously. I mean, all these absurd rankings they do right after the game, trying to predict the 2022 season and all this other stuff. They all got Bama at 1 too.
Triggered our buddy Big Jim. Triggered our buddy also too.
Say again?
You got a little trigger. My buddy Big Jim got a little trigger about that.
Oh, and he's totally right. I'll tell you the rest of it off air. I sent you guys a top 25, a way too early top 25 to look at. It's even titled that. And even the guy who wrote it, who I know, Orlando Sentinel's Matt Marshall, wrote it. And I was just trying to see how you and Jim responded as far as top 25s go. Because, we have issues with somebody on our squad that regularly writes a top 10 that's absolutely just disgustingly wrong on a regular basis. So I wanted to see if, what one that I thought looked a little better looked like. And of course, Jim is cool with
101 soundboard.
I was trying to do a ding, but apparently that didn't work.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure that Big Jim acted exactly as I thought. He said it wasn't so bad. And, of course, you who can't write a top 10 to save their lives thought it was bad. So, it told me everything I needed to know.
Don't degrade me.
You do it to yourself.
That's mean. That's mean.
I'll hug it out. Here you go.
There you go. Oh, Harry.
Oh, that's a little too grabby. Oh my gosh. My wife doesn't touch me like that. Jesus.
Yeah, Rowdy, hit that.
Oh my God. I'd break your hip. Anyways, so oh, you heard that? Yeah, no, I mean, but as far as it was a good game. I heard people it was a boring game to start with. First of all, you're wrong. It's called good defense. If you have a problem with it, stop watching the sport.
Yeah, I hate that take too because they were moving the ball. Just that when they got to the red zone, no one scored. They did 3-3, but they moved the ball up and down the field.
I mean, well, let's be fair. It was 6-3. In the second quarter. That's not a high scoring game. That's not.
What I'm saying though is that the teams did move the ball down the field, but when they got to the red zone, they can punch it in. So 3 points here, 1 here.
Yeah. There weren't a lot of 3 and outs, is my impression.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly. So yeah, but Jordan was in Cincinnati. Do you think they'll be back here again next year? I mean, they've been pretty good the last couple of years anyway. So I mean, it's not to say that them being on top in the playoff 4 next year is certainly a high possibility. I expect Bama to be here, of course. Right. I don't want to get into the whole way too early stuff because a lot of things that happen in college football, and you saw this year alone how this year went. Since he got in, since he got in, Michigan broke through finally to Ohio State. So I don't think it's actually worth diving into right now what teams will crack the top 4 next year because I think the only guarantee for me personally is Bama's getting in, and everybody else will figure it out.
That and all the strange psyche and drama of the transfer portal and the NIL and how that's currently transforming the sport.
Yeah, exactly. So Once again, congratulations to the Georgia Bulldogs on their first national title in 40-ish years, 40, 41 years. I don't know what the number was, but yeah, since Herschel Walker, right, I believe.
I mean, I'll put it this way. I'm wondering whether or not I was alive when they did it.
No, they were alive. It was definitely 80 or beyond. I was born in 80 as well.
Oh, 80. Well, no, I was born in 79. So I was alive, but I wasn't wiping my own butt. I know that.
Yeah. Do you do that now? I'm joking. Anyway, that's it.
Unless she asks me not to. Anyways.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I poop too much.
Anyway, so let's get to the NFL. We had a Black Monday.
Yes.
We also had a great Sunday.
Gray Sunday, yes. Yeah. Well, I need to stop here too. For all the movement there was, EJ Christian, I feel like Black Monday felt incomplete.
It did, because there's still a lot of guys pending. We're still waiting to hear decisions on certain guys, which we'll get to in a second. I think what we'll do, we'll get to that with the playoff teams that didn't make the playoffs. We'll probably touch on that, like the Pete Carroll in Seattle, all that. We'll touch that in that bracket of things. Saturday, we get Vic Fangio fired by the Broncos. You were actually more pessimistic about you actually more.
What was it? 75%.
You said it is a high possibility of him happening. I adjusted a little bit because I didn't realize his contract was actually one more year in his contract. And typically coaches that have 1 year in a contract, you don't want the the 1 year limbo thing going on and all that. Right. So but they go Fangio. Fangs. Thoughts? Agree, disagree with that?
I mean, he's obviously scapegoated here. I mean, I don't think anything he was doing was the problem per se. But if you really, here's what you know what the problem is, EJ. Everybody else in the division is good, or at least playoff contending, and they are not. That's never going to be a good look. And if you're in a position, it's like I said on the Huddle Up podcast when Big Jim asked us about it, that if your hands are at the mercy of the GM and ownership, you're already at 50. The highest you can be is 50%, right?
Right.
Or excuse me, the best chance of staying is 50%, I should say.
All right. Lame duck was the word I was looking for earlier. Lame duck. Yeah. But I mean, do you agree or disagree with it?
I don't. I mean, it's hard for me to pick which side of the fence, really. I mean, from the standpoint I gave you, if you feel like your franchise is in that much trouble, I'm okay with it. There are firings that make less sense to me than this one in this round, and I'm sure we'll get into that later. But I mean, like I said, if they're at the bottom of the division and it doesn't look like they're anywhere close to recovery, so
I think it's actually kind of impressive that in that division they can still win 7 games, considering the quality of teams in that division, especially this year.
Quality of teams in division, true, but again, we've talked about that schedule. That is if your number is inflated and you can't even get to a winning record, yeah, it's a problem.
Right, that's what you're saying. All right, next guy here, of course, we'll do agree disagree as well. Matt Nagy.
Complete disagreement.
Okay. Now,
the Bears fans got this guy fired. This is a human being who got Mitchell Trubisky into the playoffs more than once. I shouldn't need to say anything else.
Yeah, I do agree that there's a case to be made that he deserves at least 1 more year. But the fact that they also fired Ryan Pace tells me, the GM tells me that this is not just one guy, it's a complete overhaul in general. So
yeah, now even still, let's say it's an overhaul. At the end of the day, I want the guy that's good at getting in young, struggling quarterbacks in the playoffs, because that's what the bleep I have right now. You know, granted, I'm not aware off the bat how much power Matt Nagy had in how much his hands were in the cap hell that the Bears currently are enduring.
Right.
And if he has more impact on that than I'm drawing from it, okay, cool, I get it, but I don't get it because I don't know that that's the case. So
right. Okay. Then we also had the Vikings also fired Mike Zimmer, as well as the GM Rick Spielman. Agree or disagree?
What's the one part of that team that's actually improved very well that's not the receiver core? The defense, right? They even had a chance to go up and down a bit after they lost players, and they got better. Okay?
Fair point.
Zimmer is a defensive guy. Meanwhile, you can't get out of primetime games with a victory because of your quarterback. But you want to tell me firing Zimmer is going to solve it. Okay, Boomer. That being said, again, you're in a position in a division where you're facing Aaron Rodgers twice a week. He may not be leaving as what was first assumed at this time last year, right? Or I should say after the playoffs last year. Let's get it correct at least. And then you're looking for the Bears. The Bears may be up and coming. They're improving. They're showing signs of life. They're not good yet. And the Dolphins under Man Campbell, I think, have the first part of the equation solved. And he may be in a position to pull in Detroit what Brian Flores pulled for Miami. Again, I'm looking best case scenario for both those. So if you're in the Minnesota front office and you see that happening and you see how talented you are and no results, I can get why you did it.
Right. This is Kirk Cousins' fault. I'm gonna put it out there. This is Kirk Cousins' fault.
Damn. You like that? Wow.
Yeah, I like that. What else here? Fangio, Nagy, Zimmer. I'm also surprised also Spielman got fired as well.
Yeah. Well, and that's the part I'm talking about too. You have that much talent on that team, and this is as far as you can get. You kill the GM as well on that.
Right. The big surprise, obviously, is the Miami Dolphins firing Brian Flores.
Right.
Big surprise, though, unless you've been following the last year, some of the quote-unquote infighting between himself and Chris Grier.
Right.
And it was made more official when the owner, Stephen Ross, put out his statement yesterday after announcing the dismissal of Flores, empowering Chris Grier and whatnot. Clearly, both guys were on the opposite ends of the Tua conversation and whatnot. But this still was a surprise. The Dolphins started up 1-7, won 7 in a row. We're in position to make the playoffs this year. Had another winning record this year with 9-8. First Dolphins coach winning record 2 years in a row since, I believe, Shula, or since at least Wanstead. I mean, Wanstead was the guy that did that. But it's been a while. It's been at least 20 years.
Who was the coach when Pennington was the quarterback?
That was...
Did he get... That
was Sparano.
Yeah, Sparano. Man, I'd have to look it up. Yeah, but yeah, wow. I mean, listen.
They won a losing record, so...
Yeah.
Flores, agree or disagree?
So, from a football standpoint, of course, I vehemently disagree. Listen, I was writing for the Dolphins Wire, and I was following him closely when he came in. And not to mention, very interesting thing you come to find out when you're covering sports, particularly the NFL, EJ Christian. When someone gets hired, it's real easy to get information on why they hired him and what he's doing. When someone gets fired, it's really tough to kind of figure out why he was fired and what he's going to be doing. So, excuse me. So, I say all of the above to say, I don't see the football reason you hire him, but to your point, if they're looking for peace in the front office, and there's a lot of intriguing coaching hires out there, and you think you could replace him with somebody that is as good or better, okay, I get it. I know. I'll put it this way: the proof that Flores is doing well is the social media universe there thinking that it's all racially oriented, even though Chris Grier, his GM himself, is black. So there's that.
Yeah, we had a conversation yesterday on text. The low hanging fruit there, guys. Like, let's not play boy cries wolf here. Look, I do agree there is definitely a topsy-turvy when it comes to black coaches not getting chances. There's definitely bad optics. No one's not acknowledging that. But let's not play boy card's role to push our narrative across here. This wasn't a racial thing because Chris Grier got him fired. Chris Grier is also a black man and has been there 7 years and has been being empowered by Stephen Ross, in fact.
Yeah. I mean...
there's rumors too also. Well, it's not rumors. It's actually true. Brian Flores is on the list of the Bears job. He's on the list. He's interviewing.
I think that's a good fit too. I mean, by the way, side note, with all the Jim Harbaugh scuttlebutt there, I've heard a very interesting concept from Mark Moses, who does radio in Melbourne. He's a big Bears fan, and he says Harbaugh to Chicago. No, I don't think it'll happen, but I'd love to see it.
No, he was a quarterback there.
Yeah.
He's actually probably arguably the best quarterback we've had in the last 40 years there.
I like Derek Kramer better than him, but
Derek Kramer, you do?
I did.
I was a Harbaugh guy back in the day. Not bad. One note here: Joe Judge reportedly will be staying with the Giants. Now, Dave Gilman did retire yesterday as GM, but Joe Judge, head coach, is going to be retained for another year. That's according to.
I'm not as confident to say that as confidently as you are.
No.
Yeah.
I think I said yesterday too. I mentioned my post yesterday on social media. Yeah. I think there's still a chance that he gets canned, depending if the new GM they bring in wants to bring his own guys in.
Okay.
So but that's the report now, is that Joe Judge will be retained for now. So
we'll see.
I can go anywhere. Do you agree or disagree with that?
No, Joe Judge should not be kept. And if at Gettleman's retirement, you have an opportunity to reset the culture, which, guys, if you blow the situation where you blow something up is where everybody sucks, like the NFC East does, and you have an opportunity to turn it all on its head. Yeah, I don't know what else I can add to it. I think this is a bad move if they actually keep him.
Yeah, I was at first I was very non-committal about the whole thing, because I know my whole golden rule: you give a guy at least 3 years before you really make a decision on that, because I believe in stability. But this team is getting worse and worse and worse and worse every week, and I don't see anything positive to take away from the season at all. I don't care that they've won more games and worse that they've had worse seasons record-wise. Some of those years I can say something positive of it. Not this year.
Yeah, there have been times where you have found a way to. At the end of the day, at least in the past, you've always said, "Well, hey, Saquon Barkley's coming back."
Yeah.
Well.
Anyways. So see what happens there. But yeah, I disagree as well too. Okay, let's get to it now. We did this during the middle of the year, midterms. What we're gonna do is today we're gonna do all the teams that are not in the playoffs this year. We're gonna give them final letter grades for the year. Because student game here.
That's right.
And then we'll do it every week following next couple weeks. Is that every team's eliminated from wildcard weekend. We're gonna give them their letter grades, put them away for the year, and so on as we get to the Super Bowl. So.
And also, as a side note, EJ Christian, if people want to leave any sort of comment or appeal for an improved or worsened grade, I'll listen to it, and maybe in an episode upcoming, I'll make an adjustment if I am swayed therein. I can give extra credit as a teacher.
God, you're the best. Okay, hold on. Let me just make sure I get this in order, because I want to make sure I get this correct.
Oh, look at this guy. Correct.
All right, so the Atlanta Falcons are first. The Atlanta Falcons this year finished the season, I believe, 7-10. So, Kyle.
As much as I slam the fraud cons for what it is they do in their brand of football, which I just don't enjoy, the worst I can do for them is a C-, because they did around or just a little worse than what I thought they would. They weren't that fraudulent this year. Sure, my good friend Danny Parsons is still angry about the fact they didn't draft Micah Parsons. I get it. But because they need the defensive help.
You mean Danny Thompson?
Yeah.
Is it Danny Parsons?
Well, might as well be Danny Parsons, the way he was so high and in love with the Micah Parsons concept of him in Atlanta. But yeah, Danny Thompson, right.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think a C is also right, because they actually were a little better than we thought they were going to be this year.
No, they were below. Did I have them at? Actually, you said. I don't remember if I had them at 5 wins or 7 wins. You know what? I'll just make it an even C, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I kind of have the same idea though too. Also, they were not a team that I thought would be good this year. I thought this was like a rebuilding year or whatever. But they actually were in the playoff hunt for at least the last 2 weeks. So
no, not really. It's because everybody was in the playoff with an extra space. Listen, check your expectations on one thing here in my classroom, Ernest Christian. Okay, I don't care. Playoff competitive is not the key to a high grade. Everybody felt playoff competitive, especially in the damn AFC. I don't know. Was your wife playoff competitive in the NFL? Maybe. I don't know. There was that much competition in the AFC. And your wife's a pretty big she's a pretty badass.
Yeah, she is. All right. The Baltimore Ravens, 8-9.
Baltimore Ravens at 8-9. Listen, I've got to slam. I mean, I saw a lot of great effort, but at the end, it was disappointing. Like now, our good friend Big Jim said, "Oh, how embarrassing!" No, the only game that was embarrassing was the loss to the Dolphins. Okay, you lose. You have a 1-point loss to the Packers and a 1-point loss to somebody else. Good, who I forget it was, and then you fell just short in winning what is the best rivalry in the NFL currently. That could change next season with Roethlisberger's retirement. In a situation where the backup quarterback threw an interception in the end zone, something we expect Roethlisberger to do, in what really would have prevented Justin Tucker from having to come onto the field at all, okay? The Christmas cards next year need to go to Huntley. If you are a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I'm not saying Huntley's a bad quarterback. I'm saying he had the mistake that gave the Steelers that game. It's unfortunate. Props, of course, to TJ Watt for getting the record and all that stuff. I'm going to put them at a B-. They played a lot of good football despite having to deal with a lot of extra stuff, had a lot of problems at home. You know, we're dealing with injuries and things like that. I reward good effort in my class, but they are a disappointment. I can't give them an A. Heck, I had them picked to make a Super Bowl run, but when a student has challenges outside of the classroom that cause problems, at the end of the day, you got to give them a little slack. You can't be unreasonable. I have the Ravens at B-.
I'm at a C, but I see the point where you're at though. I honestly thought when they were 8-3, I was still concerned about sustaining because the fact that they came to the year banged up anyway. Like they went from a team that I thought could
and got worse. Yeah,
I thought they came to the year as a team that I thought could make a run for the Super Bowl, to a team that with all the injuries that, are you sure they're a playoff team? And then they upsell. No. What I'm saying was, they lost Marcus Peters and all those running backs. So the vibe was coming into the year, the last couple of days before the year started, oh, this team's in trouble.
And please remember how tough their schedule actually is. It's not like it's the AFC South.
So then they go 8-3, and they're really good. But I remember even through the year, I was saying I'm still a little concerned because of the injuries could sustain it. And then Lamar goes down. Lamar stays healthy. They're in the playoffs, and he's probably the MVP.
Yeah, I mean, that could be. And please remark, there's 3-4 games decided within about 4 points.
Yeah.
Literally.
And the only reason I gave him a C is because of those things. Because if they had to convert those games, had to convert those plays, that's more something you just do in the moment. They obviously are in the playoffs, win division, probably in a 2, even 1 seed in the AFC. So I gotta give, I supported Harbaugh's decision there, but they didn't convert it, so I have to give a C at least for that.
I can't punish a team because of injuries. That's just inappropriate to me. But whatever.
Right. Okay. The next team here we have the Carolina Panthers, who were 5-12.
Yeah, that's about where I had them, and still somehow I feel like they're worse than that. F. Absolutely. I mean, listen, I like Cam Swag and everything, but when you made what was essentially a marketing move to get butts in the seats and to get tickets sold, yeah, what more do I have to say beyond that? I mean, you can. I know it's proper to slam on, but Matt Rule is getting all this hate against him. I'm not prepared. Say again.
A lot of chatter about Matt Rule, whether he'll be there long term. He's 7-year contract. I mean, don't see him.
I don't think Matt Rule's the problem, y'all.
Right.
Anyways,
I went D on this one. Once they lost McCaffrey, the wheels came up. The wheels came up immediately. Now they obviously fell apart, like complete fell apart, like by week 6, week 7. Remember, they started 3-0.
Against who? Exactly.
No, I get it, but they started 3-0. And there was some hype about this team being decent coming to the year. Their overall number was 7 this year coming to the year, which I felt was kind of high in the first place.
Right.
I didn't understand why it was so high.
Well, the problem, the reason why you got a number A that's so close to the middle and B, while it was so air quotes high, is because their ceiling was pretty good. If Darnold works out and he breaks out like many people told us he allegedly would, then we're having a different conversation. This is going to be a B level team. But that didn't happen here. And that was one of several things that they called incorrectly. And you keep, and listen, of course, run CMC is a factor, okay? But at the end of the day, if they had McCaffrey, would they have won any more games to speak of? I don't think the answer is yes.
Maybe one or two more. Maybe one more.
And they win a lot more. They're still below expectation that you set there.
This is why I put them in D.
And then over and above that, I'm not convinced they do it. That's why they're at F.
Right. Okay. We have the Chicago Bears, who are 6-11.
Yeah. I believe I had them winning 5 games. And I was one of these that figured inevitably that their new rookie starter would come in and take the place of Andy Dalton. I was right. And there were some bumps and bruises in the road, but you started to see a little bit of positive movement. Heck, they did enough to at least fool Big Jim of the Huddle Up podcast into putting him in the top 10 at one point. But this team, I'm going to have to give them a C-. This is still a bad football team that needs a lot of work, but they're currently meeting expectation, and they're in a situation where I feel like improvement could be coming next season, especially in the division they're in, right? If the Vikings are on a downtrend and the Lions continue to be the Lions, and our hope that Madden Campbell helps get the North right there with the Lions, you know, if the worst case scenario happens for those franchises, the Bears could slide back into the number 2 team in the division. So there you go.
Trubisky or whatever the hell his name is, or
I gave him a D. There was a chance for them to really be the number 2 team in that division, and they failed. There was an opportunity to do that, and they failed. They were actually somewhat solid at the start of the year. Beat the Bengals and a couple other, they were like, I think 3-2 one point. And it said at one point Big Jim had number 10 in his rankings.
That was mostly a joke, but
yeah, but I'm saying, but then they fell apart like fast.
Not as big a joke as your top 10. Anyways,
wow, you dick! Wow.
You disrespectful, stupid idiot.
Anyway, but yeah, this disappointment. I mean, the way that was a fail. It was a bit of a failure this year. Yeah, a lot of work to be done. I'll give him a D. Not quite an F though, but a D. Definitely a lot of work to do. We'll see who they hire as head coach next. I said they got Brian Flores lined up, and I saw Doug Peterson also taking interviews as well too. So
wow. So far, your gradings, you're all about the D.
Yeah, all about the D. Yeah, shut up. oh, this is changing very soon. Next team here, Cleveland Browns, who were also 8-9.
God, it feels like they're worse than that, though, doesn't it?
I'll spoil it here. They got an F.
Wow.
F.
Wow.
This team was literally a team I had as many people had as a conference championship team.
Okay, hold on.
That's what you had.
Did you have them a conference championship team?
I think I had the Chiefs against.
Did I have them as a conference championship team?
I'm talking about everybody else.
Did everybody? Was it really anybody outside of the state of Ohio, Ernest Christian?
No. There's a lot of writers nationally who were saying the Browns are in the AFC title game.
Okay, well, national writers, whatever. At the end of the day, Ernest Christian, sometimes unfair expectations are put on students, and not in my classroom, though.
Get the job done.
And I'm not going to hold that against them. If you want to and you want to give them an F, that's cool. For me, in this case, I'm more inclined to give them a D. Listen, little Baker Mayfield has been acting out of class regularly. He's been a problem. But that being said, leaning to certain things like Odell Beckham Jr.'s departure, which I'm sorry, I never thought was a fit, is addition for subtraction for that squad. And he's also doing good in LA with the Rams. I think that was a win-win. But they need to reevaluate the quarterback position. They need to keep them out of ending up in a situation like the Cowboys and Dak Prescott with Baker Mayfield's contract upcoming, right?
At least Dak is good.
Damn. That's kind of my point, though, right? Granted, this is still a great running game, but the problem with great running games in this NFL is running backs get hurt a lot, and the defense isn't bad. There's some there. I can't give them an F because their schedule was tough, absolutely correct. They're in one of the tougher divisions in the NFL. And really, I kind of feel like they give me a vibe that if they got a good quarterback, if they had Teddy Bridgewater, they might have actually made the playoffs. Instead of somebody like Baker Mayfield, who runs hot and cold, not only in his play, but with his antics. And is a guy that's more about causing distraction than getting results, as we've kind of seen. I mean, heck, he's picking fights with the media at this point. And I can't say anything for Mary Kay Cabot's article. I didn't read it, but what I can tell you is that drew a lot of buzz and was a distraction. I know it's going to be denied that it was, but you're not selling me on that, So all the above being said. I can't give him an F. That's like you came out with the paddle, and you do what you need to do. But
this team, again, they made the playoffs last year, won a playoff game, was actually a quarter away from going to the AFC title game last year. They had the Chiefs on the ropes in 2-3 quarters.
Or was that more about the Chiefs not really waking up? I mean, come on.
Could be, but the facts of the case are they were in that game. If I'm not mistaken, they had a lead in the fourth quarter at one point. So,
I have to be honest, I don't remember that.
Yeah, but the point is, this team, a lot of people had them going to the conference championship. So even if they took a step back record-wise, if they made the playoffs, okay, we're supposed to be there. That they had arguably the best roster in football. A lot of people said they had the best roster in football. The question of the quarterback, and the quarterback failed, and the roster failed as well too. So there you go. So that's why I got enough from me. Anyway, next team, the Denver Broncos, who were also 7-10.
The Denver Broncos.
I didn't steal that one from Jim, unfortunately.
You don't need to. I'm voice acting.
Thank you,
Look,
buddy.
He's acting. It's like Team America. Durka, Muhammad Jihad. Anyways, no, man. So especially with the Fangio firing. Try saying that 5 times fast.
Fangs.
The firing of the Fangs sounds like a great vampire novel. Anyways, I'm going to put them at a C-. Again, their division's competitive. I don't think they match up well in their own division. They got a problem at the quarterback position. I'm not really excited about their offense between the hashes. Their receiver core is pretty damn smooth. Their defense is underperforming too. I'm not here to say it's bad. I'm just here to tell you it's not as good as what people were expecting, especially with Von Miller and the hizzy there. I'm gonna go C- for them. I could be, you know what? I'll even go D+. I'll go D+.
D+. Wow. Okay. I'm gonna go C because they matched the Vegas number at 7. I mean, they might have been 7.5 actually, but in any case, they were right in that ballpark. But I don't think we all understood how good the AFC West was. I don't think people thought the Raiders would be as great as they were this year.
Yeah, no, the Raiders surprised me.
So a lot of that too also. They match where it should be. Maybe if Teddy's healthy, they might get another win out of that. Teddy's better than Drew Lock, in my opinion.
Definitely.
So, I mean, maybe they get another win somewhere. I mean, so, I mean, they have a good roster, but maybe a little shake-up. Obviously, they just fired Fangio this weekend, so maybe they get another coach in there and change things up. Maybe they get aggressive and go after Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson.
You're assuming Aaron Rodgers is going to leave Green Bay, which I don't think we can do like we did this time last year.
Well, Russell Wilson, too, especially because, if you believe the rumors about his list of teams that he'd like to go to drop his no trade clause for, the Broncos were on that list. So
really?
Yes, it was. It was Giants, Broncos, and Saints.
I did not know.
You didn't know
that Denver was on, or I shouldn't say I didn't know. Let me restate. I had kind of forgotten it.
Yeah, it was.
Because now that you're saying it, you've shown me the list, and I remember it being on there, and I had forgotten because I'm like, the Broncos, whatever. Well, there might be some there. Can you imagine Russell Carrington Wilson throwing to Jerry Jeudy?
Oh boy!
Like, name me a receiver he's had that's actually better than Jerry Jeudy. Time's up. You can't because he doesn't exist.
Right. So we'll see what happens there. Like I said, the list was Broncos, Giants, and Saints. Was his list. So anyway, next team here we have the Detroit Lions, who I believe were 3 wins this year. Were they 3 wins here? Make sure of that. Yeah, 3-13. 3-13-1.
I mean, the expectations were pretty low on this team. I'll tell you what. I'm not going to give them an A for effort, but I'm going to give them a D for doing. I can't give them an F because, damn it, This is a scrappy team. This is a team that busts their behind and does things, and you think that they're gonna win, and then they don't. But but at the end of the day, like, this is a team that could have just as easily had 6 wins as 3, and that's still not very impressive. but 6-10 is still a garbage year. But I see if the Lions have a good draft, that could change. I don't know what they're going to do about their quarterback situation. I really think they took a severe downgrade with Matt Stafford. So yeah, that's why I have it the way I have it.
Yeah, I can't give him an F either. Gotta give him a D.
Mm-hmm.
But tend to put him C minus. But the thing is, though,
that's a little high. Wow.
Yeah, but you won only 3 games. I mean,
yeah,
you finally at least win more, at least 2.
In fairness, they did tie 1.
Yes, they did. Against the playoff team.
That's right.
Albeit without Big Ben though too. Don't forget that. But yeah, they were definitely a team that was very frisky at times.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I mean, I can't go higher than a D and lower than a D. So.
No, you're all about lower than the D, aren't you?
Apparently, I am.
Yeah, this is why you watch the cock. Anyways,
you damn right.
That's the peacock. You pervs.
Relax. Anyway, next team here we have the Houston Texans, who were 4-13.
You say 4-13, and I feel like that they were better than that. I'm not going to give them a C or anything stupid, but if I were to say to you, hey, the Titans are going to struggle to beat them in Week 18, and give Titans fans some sort of credibility, and they're complaining about us talking, I'd be like, the heck you say? No. Listen, joking aside, I feel like they did overproduce. Dave Mills is better at quarterback than I would have imagined. But this is still a mediocre team at best. A C would be the upper range. I can't give them that, winning only the games that they did. So I'm going to have to say, listen, just because a student does better than you think he's going to throughout the school year doesn't necessarily mean they did well. It's just that their low performance wasn't as low as you thought. So with all that in mind, let's go D with the Texans.
I'm gonna go with C minus. Actually, I'll tell you why. They actually doubled my number. I am going 2-14 this year. 2-15. Sorry, 15 this year. I think I used to fucking 17.
I think I had him at 3. I would have to look up my AFC South preview on the3pointconversion.com to confirm it.
Yeah,
but
this team was set to fail this year.
Yes.
Okay, so
not just fail, but the worst in the league. Like where Jacksonville is, they were supposed to be.
And I actually made the case this year that they could go 0-17. Like there was actually a real talk on this podcast. I said in August.
Not only
it might have been with you or somebody else.
It was with me, and I was talking with somebody who was in ESPN Houston, Patrick Creighton, who thought the very same thing you did.
Yeah, Patrick Creighton, former Dallas Cowboy.
You asked me this last time, and I don't think it is.
Oh, okay. I'll look it up. Because I used to hate that guy. So, but anyway.
But you're a Cowboys fan. Why would you hate a Cowboys player?
Shut up.
What?
No.
Oh my God, that's disgusting.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, listen, you're the one that had them ranked higher than the 49ers. You want to talk about disgusting?
And they won the first game of the year, out the shoot against the Jaguars. I was like, well, congrats. It's the only win of the year. They still won 3 more.
That's true. Yeah,
we're competitive. That's the last half of the year. I will say that. I'll give a C minus. So,
okay.
And then also don't forget too. Also, the whole Deshaun Watson thing hanging over head the whole year.
Okay, I'll raise it to D plus.
Okay, there you go.
By the way, also your wife's nickname for you.
Ooh.
There's Frisky for you.
All right. Anyway. All right, here we go. We got a lot to talk about this team. The Indianapolis Colts, 9-8.
Oh yeah. So here's what's funny, EJ Christian. They finished exactly where I thought they would, 9-8. I picked them to win 9 games on the 3pointconversion.com when I wrote the AFC South preview. But it's the way they got to 9-8 that's so damn disappointing.
Yes. Yes. Totally with you.
Granted, I expected a few teams in the AFC to do a bit better than they did to keep the Colts out. For one, I thought the Steelers were going to be stronger, and I expected more from the Ravens as well. What ended up happening is the Colts supplanted the Ravens, and their underachievement. That all being said, the Colts had a great solid 2 months, as you described it.
Yeah.
Their horrible ending doesn't put me in a position to give them like a D.
Right.
But I am going to finish with a C+. You should have been in the playoffs, and to lose to a team that, it's weird. They were able to knock a team out of the playoffs, the Jacksonville Jaguars, while also being the first round overall pick.
Right.
You let that happen, Colts. That's why I can't give you a B. You got a C+.
I gotta go. I'm definitely in a C range, but I'm kind of leaning towards C- because, okay, so I'm gonna give you credit for getting out the hole. Remember, they started the year off. Of course, Wentz hurt. Quentin Nelson hurt.
Yeah, there you go.
Their best play, by the way, their best player on the team, Quentin Nelson. Yes, folks.
I'll agree.
Trenches matter. And the schedule was out the chute tough. Start 1-4. If we forget that, it started 1-4. Okay, so people thought they're done for the year, and somehow they get back into it. Next, you know, we're now week 17, entering week 17, and they literally are just a win-and-in situation, and they fall apart against the Raiders team that was still.
You blew it.
Raiders team trying to figure it out on their, at home, and then of course, what happened this past week against the Jaguars. So in the end, I gotta give them C-. It's because of the failure at the end. I can't go D, but I have to. You know, if you're in position to win in 2 weeks in a row and you can't get a job done, one against a Raider team that was still that's not inferior to you, obviously, and then the Jaguar team who was, if not the worst team, one of the worst teams in football, obviously. So I think the Giants are the worst team in football for the record. I gotta go C-.
I mean, the numbers say the Jags, but you know, not saying you have to agree with it. I'll put it that way.
I test Giants. I watch Giants games, unfortunately, and it's bad. Jake Fromm, State Farm. I got it, so I don't know. Very disappointing. Now, I'm not saying they should fire Frank Reich. I'm not going that far.
Oh no, I don't think they should either, for the record.
Right. But there's definitely, and I'm not saying that Carson Wentz is done, but definitely. but I will say eyebrows were raised.
Sure.
That's all I'm gonna say about that. Anyway, next team here we have the staying in the division, of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are 3-14.
Yeah. So there was a range of expectation set between, based on my conversations, because we were still running beyond the buzzer, me and Danny Thompson. We had Travis Holmes, former writer for BigCatCountry.com. Excuse me. And we thought that the lower expectation was 3 wins for the Jags. And for the absolute debacle that was Urban Meyer has to make this just an F in and of itself. Yeah. I could even argue it's an incomplete because Urban didn't even finish the season. We've seen enough plays to know that Trevor Lawrence is going to be a damn star in this league. That is a fact. Okay. But I still have to give the franchise an F because you have that good of a quarterback and you have 3 wins in a sorry division. Now that'll be all.
Yeah, they should have won at least 5 games this year.
I don't know about should have, but well, actually, yeah. In light of the fact they have the 3 that they did, yeah, I can make an argument for should have won 5. That's fair.
What's worse, F plus, F minus? What's worse?
F minus would definitely be worse.
Okay, F minus it is then. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm saying incomplete. Like they didn't even finish the year. I mean.
And it's the totality also, the Urban stuff too.
Correct.
You got ownership as well. Is got to share in responsibility and blame for how that was handled as well too. F minus by far. It was horrible. Nice ending to the year, but overall, should won at least 5 games. That's where I was at on this team. I didn't think they'd be this fucking bad. But here we are. Anyway, next team here we have the Los Angeles Chargers, who are 9-8.
They're only about a game or so under what I have. Their defense is the problem, and their defense is the reason that I'm putting them at a B-. This is a team that has to play the Kansas City Chiefs twice. This is a team whose only cupcake games in the division are the Colts. Or check that, the Broncos at this point. The Colts. Whatever, they're both horses. Screw it. But yeah, I don't feel like the Chargers were handed a very favorable situation within their division. Now, I mean, you're out here, you lost to the Cowboys. The one win I think that gave them any credibility. You got murdered by the Ravens. You lost to the Vikings. And oh, by the way, you did lose to the Broncos once this year. You underperformed. You know what? And you lost to the Texans. You know what? You talked me into it, Chargers. Your inconsistency puts you right in the middle. You're a C. You got a C. No,
I'm going lower than that. I'm going D+. Because, again,
I mean, they beat the Rams, and you're going to – well, no, that doesn't count. That's preseason.
I don't care. D+. You –
Why? I'm not need to hear this.
I had them winning 11 games this year at least. Okay?
Oh, that's on you.
And it's also the way they lost it. You know, you could argue the Houston Texans is the reason why they're out of the playoffs now.
Oh, clearly. Indubitably. Absolutely.
Your coach, I don't know, dude. I'm not saying fire the guy, but he's questionable. Some questionable decision making there on his part. And not just on Sunday, but throughout the year. To be honest with you, I admire aggression to some degree, but sometimes you have to peel back a little bit. 4th and 2 on your 18-yard line. Yeah, not smart. Sorry.
I mean, yeah, you got a little too buried. You got a little too buried in the analytics on that one. Clearly,
your defense is one of the worst in the league, and you're a defensive coach. That's your background. Not good either. And then the way you fell apart. Remember, you guys were 4-1. You guys started 4-1. You guys were the team that can give KC problems. You guys did. Let's put it what it is. And yet couldn't finish the job. That to me, it's a disappointment. You guys should have been a playoff team. You guys should not been a playoff team. Should have been a probably a division winner if you think about it, and didn't close the deal. So
I can't blame them for the Chiefs deciding to find signs of life. Yeah, I'll leave it at that for now because I don't want to grade the Chiefs yet. We're not there yet.
No. We won't be there till the season's over when they win the Super Bowl. You heard that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I mean, that might actually be possible, but I mean, the reason why they're going to get in the Super Bowl is because the AFC is so disappointing.
Exactly. This is why the Titans by default are a contender, as I told you.
Yeah, you put them at 5th or lower.
And don't look at the credit to them. Again, it's not a credit to them. It's just the environment. Anyway, next team here we have the Miami Dolphins, who went 9-8.
Yeah, the Dolphins were disappointing. You tried to sell me Tua. I wrote in 2019 that you need to not draft Tua this year. You need to rebuild one more year, and then the following year, this year, get clever for Trevor. You didn't do that. Look where you are. You're firing one of the better coaches, certainly within your own division. I can argue the best coach not named Bill Belichick in your division, because who the bleep's better than Bill Belichick right now in the league, other than maybe, I don't know, Andy Reid? You know? And this is what we got. Now, I'll grant you, 8 wins is great. That's going to stop me from giving you an F.
9 wins.
9 wins, thank you. 8 wins in a row, I should say, right?
7 in a row.
You sure?
Yeah, won 7 in a row, lost Tennessee, beat New England.
Okay, for some reason I thought it was 8 in a row. Maybe because math. I don't know. Anyways, but the punchline.
Won 7 in a row. Wait, they won the first game, lost 7 in a row, won 7 in a row, lost 1, win 1.
Everybody got that?
Literally the entire season right there, in a nutshell.
So, but long and the short, for me, for the Dolphins, like, it's hard for me to give them much credit, even though they won. Like, just because you put out a fire to save the orphanage doesn't forgive the fact that you set the orphanage on fire in the first place.
Yeah, I'm so with you on that one.
So with that in mind, I'm compelled to give them a C-. Because of their coaching change and what's brewing in that front office, I'm not inclined to be optimistic for this team yet. I need to see who's going to fill in that spot at the coaching as the coach.
Right. I'm with you on that one too. C- as well too. But I did flirt with him in D plus because the analogy about the fire was perfect because I'll give you credit for taking advantage of a soft schedule to win 7 in a row.
Of course you would as a Patriots fan.
But you're the same team that lost to the Falcons and lost to the Jaguars by 3 points each. Okay,
I forgot about the Fraudcons loss.
That was your damage. You turn on those 2 games alone, you're in the playoffs. Maybe win the division. You know what I'm saying? So you start. Damage was created by you guys. It was created by you, and also the front office. I was tending to put them a D because the front office and what they, not just the firing, but the way, one of the reasons why there was infighting between Chris Greer and Brian Flores is because they had upwards of 3 guys calling plays. Disorganization going on with the coaching staff, So, but I'll give C-. I'll give credit for getting back into it, but you started firing in the first place. So so this is still your fault at the end of the day. So anyway, next team here we have the Minnesota Vikings, who I believe were 8-9 this year. Yep, 8-9.
They're a nice C team every year. I'm not going to wax poetic on it. Kirk Cousins is the quarterback, and Dalvin Cook can't finish the season because he's asked to compensate, simply put.
So C, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a C team that'll get a graded D from me because they're a team that should have been in the playoffs.
I don't agree with that.
Well, the way everything shook out in the last month or so, as bad as they were most of the year, they still had the opportunity to go to the finish line.
I respect that they have the opportunity, but I would argue they overachieved to even get that.
No, they had one of the better rosters in the league, in my opinion.
Fair.
With a quarterback that when he's good is pretty good. But again, you're battling with Philadelphia, Atlanta, New Orleans with 25 quarterbacks going this year. You have an opportunity to San Francisco, who was started slow, but you had an opportunity there to grab one of those wildcard spots. I still think Minnesota's a better team than Philadelphia by roster.
Fair.
But you can't get the job done.
Fair.
I looked at Minnesota a lot more higher than most people. That's probably part of the reasons why I did this. So yeah,
my expectations were. I wasn't fooled like you were, but you're right. and you're more scorned. It may be. That's very possible.
A B, really, to be honest, they're a B team that's getting a D.
I'll meet you in the middle. I'll say C- because as I'm looking through, it's funny. I'm scrolling through their schedule, EJ, and I'm like, wow, you beat the Packers? Cool. Wait, you lost to them? What the hell?
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
like you have a loss to the Lions and you also beat the Packers. Like, what the F? What do I do with that?
Exactly.
But yeah, in light of the fact that the roster's so good and they're still losing to the Lions, yeah, I'll give them C-. I'm with you on that.
Okay. Next team here, we have the New Orleans Saints, who were, I believe, 9-8, I believe. Yep, 9-8.
This is not a playoff football team.
No.
This is not a playoff football team. I'm starting to sound like an 80s song. I can't take you serious, baby. No,
I want the knife. Oh, go ahead.
There you go. Granted, I mean, at one point you're trying to decide between Trevor Siemian
or Ian.
Hey, what?
Or Ian Book, really?
Well, Ian Book was desperation. They were forced to start Ian Book. They didn't want to necessarily do that. But it's Taysom Hill or Trevor Siemian at one point, and it's just like, no, that's not a good football team. And yet they're in the playoffs. But you're playing a crap schedule. I don't like. I mean, okay, yeah, I get it. Tom Brady struggles against you, and you beat him twice. That's impressive. That should mean something. But your other wins are what? Carolina, the Jets, the Fraudcons,
Patriots.
Right, and that's the thing. They beat the Patriots, but that was week 3.
Yeah, correct.
When they wouldn't have beaten the Patriots later in the year.
No, I agree.
And by the way, one of their wins is the Packers coming out, and I'll put it this way: the Saints aren't anything heavenly. I'm going to start calling them the Boondock Saints because there's all sorts of stuff going down. They are just as fraudulent as the fraud cons in my mind. That's right. I said it, Ernest Christian. They just happen to be better coached by Sean Payton.
So this is hard because what'd you give them?
I'm circling around that. I'm going to give them. They're a playoff team. I can't give them higher than a C.
No, okay.
You know, and it's mostly because the only reason they're in the playoffs is because there's an extra spot. Period. Point blank.
Oh, in the playoff hunt, should I say?
What's that?
Well, in the playoff hunt.
Yeah.
They didn't get in, obviously, but you know.
Right. The Eagles got in. Sorry.
No, your boys got in.
What's that?
Your boys got in. Your
That's
boys.
true.
Yeah. So, this is probably the hardest team to grade because even coming to the year, we weren't sure how good they're going to be with Jameis Winston. We weren't even sure. We thought, okay, maybe you throw Jameis to Sean Payton. Hopefully he figures it out. We figured it out. And then he wasn't that good, to be honest with you. He was okay, but they were winning games at the time. And then he gets hurt. They fall apart a little bit. You know, they have quarterback carousel going on pretty much the entire rest of the year. And the fact they're even in the playoff hunt to begin with, honestly, was actually a credit to them. This is why I graded the Vikings as hard as I did, because of the fact they had opportunities to do this. And you're battling a spot against a team that's on the 5th or 6th quarterback of the year. You know,
right?
You know what I'm saying? That's why I graded Vikings so harshly on that, for that reason alone. On the Saints, the Saints were literally had the Niners not come back on that game against the Rams on Sunday. They're in the fucking playoffs.
Yeah, but it's all on the strength of Aaron Rodgers coming out on a fluff game.
Yeah.
Okay. Having the fraud cons, the Panthers and the Jets on their schedule.
And that's fair. That's fair. I'm just saying that in totality, though, the fact this team was still hanging around to begin with after everything's going on with them, I think it's a credit to Sean Payton how great he is. So the only grade I can give him is a C, honestly. I can't go.
Listen, I'll go with C-, but I can't glorify them that high when their schedule's that sorry.
I actually just going to go B- because, again, we didn't know who they were coming into the year.
Not knowing who they were doesn't mean anything to me on that, but
right. So I'll give him a C+. Just hanging around. You know, good job.
Whatever.
All right. Here we go. New York Giants.
F. Next. We were supposed to get something from Danny Dimes. The defense was supposed to be better, and Saquon was supposed to save the day.
Grade something worse than F-?
You can claim they didn't show up at all and say incomplete.
No, because at least they didn't show up at all and embarrass your fucking selves. F-, not even close.
If you're any more passionate about it, someone might think you're a fan.
Because I am. F-, not even close. There's nothing, and the worst part, there's nothing good you can take away from this team this year. There's nothing you can take away from this team saying, oh, well, maybe have this still going forward. No, nothing there. The defense was okay for a little while. That kept them in some of the games, just cause. But no.
You're in trouble when your team's best news is they might still possibly fire their coach.
Yeah, exactly. So F-, that's easy. Obviously Daniel Jones got hurt late in the year, didn't return. They're down to Jake Fromm from State Farm. So it's quarterback.
Jake Fromm.
Move on. Fuck the Giants. Next one, Jets. Jets were I believe the same record, right? No. They were 113 as well.
F. I tried to warn you people about Zach Wilson. You didn't want to listen.
So I want to go D.
Of course you do.
D-, D+-ish. D. I'm going D. Because
of course you are.
They had moments this year where, and it looks even better now in hindsight, beat the Titans.
That's because the Titans are bad, not because they're good.
Beat the Bengals, the team that you're high on now, apparently. And they've had moments where they were in some of these games. So, and look, they were easily the youngest team in football. First-year coach. You know, they were supposed to be bad anyway. But I
still feel like they did worse, though.
I feel like between the Jets and Giants, the Jets showed more heart in some of these some of these games in comparison to the Giants. You know, so they were who they. I mean, Denny Green, brilliantly said,
They were who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
They were.
No, I don't think Lumberg was in there. So let me get this straight. They're better than the Giants, who are awful, and that's worth an entire letter grade higher. I can't sign off.
I'm gonna go D- because I mean, the only reason was like they had some big wins this year against two quality playoff teams in the AFC. One number one seed,
and that's worth two. That's worth an entire letter grade. Okay.
With Derrick Henry for the record. With Derrick Henry, not without Derrick Henry.
Right, not right, uninjured.
No, just remember that. Yeah. So I'll give them a D- just because they showed more heart. Even this game is Buffalo this weekend. Buffalo, that score 27-10 is not indicative of how close that game was. Actually, that game was close to late in the fourth quarter. So I'll give it some credit there. They showed more fight than most of these bottom three teams here. So I'll give them a D-.
Okay.
You okay with that?
I'm not. They should be an F, but okay.
All right. Let me see here. I think I got one more team. No, two more teams here. Yeah. Seattle Seahawks. They were
incomplete. I can't in good conscience grade this team with Russell Wilson missing as much time as he did. Okay.
I tend to agree with you on that one, actually. Incomplete.
Yeah, because like we knew going into this that this team was going to struggle more than we'd probably like, but still had a chance for playoff action because they have Russell Carrington Wilson. And then when he got hurt, then what?
Wheels came off.
Incomplete.
I want to say complete as well too, but I'm still gonna go D.
Okay.
Because I copy your paper. Shut up. I had him as one of the four. Had him going to the playoffs. All four teams in that division going to the playoffs. And we've been seeing this for the last year or two. This trend of this team is it's starting to come off the rails. D, not Rusty's fault. D, Pete Carroll. D, John Schneider. D, players not playing to the potential. Hello, DK Metcalf. How you doing? You know what I'm saying? So
DK Metcalf.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly. So that's what's for me. I mean, I see the incomplete part because of Russ being out for a month. And if Russ plays those games, even if they go 2-2, 2-2 makes you 9-8, which means you are in the playoffs.
Yes, they still could have. They still could have made the damn playoffs if Rusty stayed healthy, and that's not an exaggeration.
Right, because of who he is as a quarterback. So, and we'll see how that whole thing plays out as we get to the, playoff, of course. All season rather. Next, and of course, last team here we have the Washington football team, who will no longer be called that after next month. Their record, I believe, was 7-10, right? Yep, 7-10.
Yeah, for me, the Red Tails are the toughest team to grade.
Oh, it's tough. Yeah,
because they're in the worst division, and they've had so much. They had so many problems at home. This student, know, it's really hard to get a good grasp on where to start, and like I said, I don't want to I was cutting the Raiders some slack, for example, when I thought they wouldn't make the playoffs, and as far as grading them and evaluating them because of the whole Gruden situation. That's completely unfair to hold that against players at the very least, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I'm kind of as I kind of thumb through their record here, like I'm noticing they would do exactly what I would think they would do. They beat the Fraud Cons, but they lose to the Packers, right? They lose to the Broncos, but beat the Bucks. Like, how does that happen? So exactly. Again, all that does is make it more difficult to evaluate this damn team. That being said, they have some, long and the short, they have some wins they shouldn't, and they have some losses they shouldn't.
Right.
And their quarterback situation's a mess, and they still achieved that, right?
Mm-hmm.
To me, that actually, I'm going to give them a C+. I want them to go to the draft, do some great things, maybe bring in a more what's this word, veteran quarterback in the offseason, and they could steal the title from the Cowboys for the division.
I'm going to go C because a lot of people were high on this team, actually. I was not one of them.
Well, that's because we're smarter,
Right, exactly. Like people say, this team in the division. I'm like, huh? No. I did it last year. I get it, but no. Who's a quarterback? Ryan Fitzpatrick, once every 4 games, he's great. No, He doesn't play at all this year.
And then Heineke inspired people to drink beer.
Right, exactly. Like no, but when you properly evaluate teams the way they're supposed to, you get the right letter grade. I feel like a C. I think given all the mess and then even the stuff off the field with the Snyder stuff and emails and stuff, they still won 7 games. That's pretty okay for a team that I did not really think highly of anyway to begin with.
Yeah.
So 7 was actually the number I had them at this year anyway. 7 and 10, 7, like 8 and something, whatever, right in that ballpark. So C. I thought it was not a playoff team. Last year was a fluke. I thought Dallas would be better this year. I thought the Giants would be better this year.
Well, that's on you.
Remember I told you the Giants was the big mystery in the division because we didn't know if they figured it out finally, if they signed Galladay and all those guys, but clearly, no. So C, I'm good with that. So, quickly before we go, we got 2 minutes. Run down quickly the predictions for this weekend's games. This is gonna give me a winner. No spread. It's gonna be a winner. Bucks, Eagles, go.
It's going to be the Bucks, and it's going to be the Bucks all day. I don't care how good or bad old man Brady does. That defensive line is going to crush whatever they put back there, whether it's Jalen Hurts or Gardner Minshew.
Okay. Cowboys, Niners, go.
I got the Niners. This is a game where the team that's going to punch you in the face is going to force Dakota Prescott into submission. Ezekiel Elliott will be a non-factor. And while I like the receiver core for the Cowboys, if you can't get them the ball, they can't get down the field. If Jimmy G performs in the clutch and doesn't turn the ball over, I have a close game, but simply because it's only close because the Niners aren't a high-powered offense. I got the Niners.
All right. Cardinals at Rams, go.
I got the Rams. The Cardinals are free-falling, and they've given me no reason to be confident in them.
All right. Chiefs, Steelers, go.
I think this is the one time I can believe in the Chiefs and not be in any way confused or any of that. While I enjoy TJ Watt and he makes that for a great defense, at some point you got to score the football, and I have no reason to believe that the Chiefs will let them do that. Have a happy retirement, Ben Roethlisberger. As a quarterback, you're one of my favorites, not as a human being, though.
Right. All right, Bills, Patriots, go.
This is literally, I think this might be the toughest game for me to pick. My instincts tell me to pick Belichick, but I just don't think they have quite enough on offense yet. I have the Bills.
Okay. And finally, Bengals, Raiders, probably the second best game of the weekend, in my opinion. Go.
Another very difficult one to choose. I feel like if the game is kept close, that the Raiders will win. And a matter of fact, because they're hot, and they have a very good defensive line, I'm going to pick the Raiders to pull, I think, what is deemed the upset. I am.
Wow.
I think they're better on defense than the Bengals, and they will keep Joe Burrow on the run and prevent him from hooking up with Jamar Chase.
Wow. I am stunned.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
All right, buddy. Plug away. As I said, it was a longest student game for it. Hour and 12 minutes.
Well, I got to do something. I got to give the people something since they won't have everything they want from you and the degenerate talking about playoff betting. So there you go. Of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me on Twitter at the SOTG. Find me on Instagram as the same, the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as the student of the game. Check out my writings on the black and gold banneret.com. I'm actually covering some UCF basketball this week once again. And check out my work with the 3pointconversion.com. Of course, my man, Controversy, Raphael Haynes, running the show there. Lots of NFL content here in the coming days. Maybe want to read a wrap-up of the national championship game. That should be up there. And, of course, my work in pop culture with my friend, Demosthenes Euclid, on the Hilarity by Default YouTube channel. Thank you. Sorry for any delays on our Christmas review. For the movie Eyes Wide Shut. Demos has literally tried to upload it 17 times, and YouTube's being a bunch of bitches and throwing up stuff about copyright issues where it was literally a full minute of me and him talking about the movie.
Wow.
Step your damn game up, YouTube. I'm gonna be rude. I don't care what the Donald says. You suck, YouTube.
Be rude.
Too late. Anyways. And so with all that in mind, it is Christian honor, joy, and privilege, playoff football coming at you. Until next time, everyone, class dismissed.